every time we do a breeding, that is what we think of first. Can my bitch handle this? Even when people breed to our stud dogs, can my stud dog handle this, not only in looks, but temperament and health? Condition your dog mentally, physically. That is so important. That is the most important thing I can tell someone. The condition of your dog, the condition of its mind is the most important thing you can do.
Welcome to the Better Breeder Chronicles, brought to you by Easy Whelp Premium Whelping Boxes. Elevate your breeding program with Easy Whelp. In today's episode, we visit with Dennis and Katey Brown of Solivia Pointers. Located in Nebraska, the Browns are prolific breeders in the pointer breed. When it comes to pointers, it would be hard to have accomplished more than they have. As second-generation breeders, Dennis and Katey have won multiple national specialty, Westminster, and AKC Best of Breeds. They have bred generations of number one and best in show winners. They have been awarded several APC Top Breeders of the Year award, Dog News Pro Plan Breeder Owner Handler of the Year nominee, and the 2022 AKC Sporting Group Breeder of the Year. They have developed and maintained a bloodline that is renowned for its exceptional breed type and soundness generation after generation. Those who know the Browns best describe them as immensely knowledgeable about the breed, the standard, and breed history, and they are willing to share their bloodstock and knowledge with others. Join me now in welcoming the masters of Solivia, Dennis and Katey Brown. Dennis and Katey, welcome to the podcast, and I am really excited for you to share the Solivia story with us today. If you would, take us back to your beginning in dogs. How did you get started?
My mother got her first pointer when I was 4 years old, 1984. And she had met pointers when she was a child, and she got to show her neighbor's deaf lemon and white pointer in a fun match. His name was Chief Rusty, and she won. She won best in match with him. Her mother wouldn't let her have any dogs, or wouldn't let her have any pets, and which is pretty normal for back then. And so she went crazy when she moved out, and she couldn't find a pointer. She couldn't find an English setter, so she settled on an Irish setter. And she began in Irish setters, and after them became English cockers. And then after those, she finally found a pointer. And that was her foundation.
And at what age did she start breeding?
She started breeding in her early 20s.
What type of breeding program was she operating? I mean, was she a hobbyist breeder? Was she breeding for show dogs? Or at that point, was she already thinking about creating a bloodline?
Her biggest success was her first pointer litter. She produced, her bitch went on to be the top dam for the year. And she had multiple group winners, multiple specialty winners, several top 10. And it worked. It was her niche.
What year was that?
1986, I want to say. 87 maybe is when she did all that.
What bloodlines were your mom's original pointers from?
She saw a beautiful bitch named Shandown's Sunburst of Troon, owned by Kathy Parks. She saw her and she had to have that line, that specific line. She had to breed her bitch. She was obligated to breed her foundation bitch to a dog of the breeder's choice first. And she did that, and it was very unsuccessful. And the second time she was able to do what she wanted, and that's what produced all of these winners and the basis of the foundation for Solivia.
And what was the background on that stud dog?
It was Deputy. It was Champion Margetta National Acclaim, and she had seen Michael Zola walking him across a field 2 years before she was able to actually buy a Shandong bitch to breed to him. And she asked Ann Savory Bullis, who showed Irish setters with her, who is that dog? And she said, oh, that's Michael's new special. And She went and bought a bitch specifically to breed to him, and that has been the basis of her success.
So at some point, I'm guessing Katey comes along.
And 4 other siblings, but yeah.
So what was the level of her involvement as you were, young children and moving along? A lot of breeders I talked to that bred early had their families really had to put dogs and breeding on the back, on the back burner. Was she actively breeding while you were young?
Always had pointers and Irish setters and English cockers, but the pointers since I was 4, and I had 2 younger sisters, and, that's all they've ever known, and my older brother and older sister, they knew all the other breeds too, but yeah, definitely our whole lives have had pointers.
At what point growing up did you realize that this purebred dog journey wasn't just your mother's passion, it was also yours?
I don't think there ever was a point. It never occurred to me not to be in them, not to show them, not to have them, not to carry on. It was an obsession, an addiction, and it was my life.
And looking back today, what do you feel your mother's impact was on you as a mentor?
Mom was extremely passionate about health. Very, very, very passionate about health and soundness and
Soundness.
soundness. That was her biggest thing. And because she was so passionate about health and so conscientious about it, Dennis and I were able to take that, and if there were lines that we knew could be a little sketchy, a little, and I don't just,
Sure.
yeah, I wasn't sure, but not just hips, not just elbows, not OFA. I'm talking, epilepsy or
OCD.
OCD of the shoulder or hypothyroidism, autoimmune issues, things that we knew that was out there.
Allergies.
Yeah, allergies. We were able to take those chances because we had such a healthy foundation.
You had that foundation that you could go other directions for certain things, but then hold on to your health and soundness.
So we felt comfortable taking those possible chances because of her. To fancy up a line, our dogs were very sound, but they tended to be plain. And so we were able to go to and fancy up heads or more angulation or stuff like that. They moved beautifully, but you needed to pretty stuff up, and we knew that. And so because of her, we were able to do that.
You guys had some outstanding mentors that you were not related to. Can you speak to those individuals and the impact that they made on both of you in your early careers in purebred dogs?
I worked for a handler when I was 15 years old, and she bred Weimaraners. She was from Atlanta,
Who was that?
Susan Wise, and she had a beautiful breeding program, very, very pretty dogs, and her mother bred before her, and I learned a lot of my handling skills from her, my ability to handle and show from Susan. She's a great handler. And her kennel, Wismar Weimaraners, was her. Very beautiful dogs, very sound dogs, and I learned a lot from her. I really did. She was a good person. She was a good breeder. She was good. Then we have Patty Haynes, Patty and Thad Haynes that we currently breed with now in pointers, and she's an incredible person, and she has had such success. She was best junior handler at Westminster. Maybe not yesterday, but the day before. And she has had so many national specialty winning pointers, so many best in show winning pointers and top producers, and she's great. She's real. She doesn't sugarcoat it. She gets dogs, and she had American Foxhounds. She had Golden Retrievers was her initial breed. So she's amazing. And Thad's awesome too.
Dennis, how about you? Who are those individuals?
I started from someone who lived right here in Fairbury, Nebraska. Morgan Querin, Driftwood, Portuguese water dogs, which is like, I would safe to say that probably in most of any pedigree in water dogs. She was pretty big in, and she taught me how to do it. 4-H here. I would work for a lady named Erin Hall and her husband Rob. They showed Labradors. My parents bred Labradors. I showed their Labradors. They showed also. Also had pointers back in the day when I was in juniors from City Lane. Her name was at the time, which was Equinox pointers. And then after I graduated, I went on and worked for Scott Summer, who shows all breeds. He won Best in Show at the Garden in 2001 with a dog named JR Bichon, and also a dog named Stump, Sussex Spaniel. But that's been my, there's been all of them. Anybody, growing up, people you work for, you watch, but like Davin McAteer, watching him show an Irish Setter, in Kansas City as a kid was amazing. We had watching all these different people handle also, on how to show dogs. And then, the breeding aspect comes later in life. When you're a kid and juniors, the breeding with Labradors, I was addicted to the Labrador Quarterly as a kid. Who are we going to breed the Dick and Doll Arnold to, But then and then you watch, growing up, all, like I said, the handlers, but showing dogs. Scott also bred Bichons, when I worked there with Seal Ruggles. And so you got to see that and breeding this to that and what it produced. And it was an early, and also my parents bred labs. So you saw it and you just grow up into this, you see it. And so we've been lucky, I think, in our age to grow up with a bunch of greats that we saw.
So I have to ask, with those backgrounds, how did you two meet?
In the pool, it was 1998. I was in Spring, Texas, and I was working for Scott Summer at the time. Scott said something, we had this kid working for us with pointers, and we started talking, and then started talking some more.
We actually do you remember instant messaging on AOL?
Yeah, we used to do that
We used to do that, and we did that for 2 years before we ever met
Yeah.
in person. Yeah. We were 18.
Yeah.
We showed dogs on the weekend, and it got to where we would get home from a show at, 2, 3 in the morning, and we'd be at work at 7:30, and I did go to my boss, and I said, "Can you match this, what we're making on the weekends?" And he said, "No." So we bought a house, bought a van, bought everything we needed with a real job, and never looked back.
Fellow breeders, see what your breeding program has been missing with Easy Whelp modular whelping boxes. From the durable Easy Classic design to the spacious Easy Classic Tall, Easy Whelp sets a new standard for premium design and performance. Their innovative models are developed for simple setup and maximum safety, with features like integrated safety rails to protect your next generation. The smooth, hygienic surface allows for quick wipe downs to maintain a sanitary environment. The new windowed wall option provides the next level of safety, confidence, and convenience. No tools are required for assembly, which comes in handy if time is short in those critical moments. Elevate your breeding program today. Visit easywhelp.com. How you brought your dogs together. And of course, I've got a personal interest here because my wife was also in my breed. And when we got married, everyone just assumed, well, you're bringing your dogs together. How are you going to do it? And it was like, that was the last thing we were worried about. It's like, whatever happens with the dogs happens. But ironically, we did end up crossing the two bloodlines, and that's what we have today. How did you bring your dogs together, and what happened to kind of make Solivia yours and move forward with that?
Well, to start, they weren't brought together because when I left and worked in Texas, I had one dog, pointer dog from Cindy that I had at the time, and years ago he went best in futurity
At the
at the national. and he was just a really great dog. Not like a special type of dog, but a special's quality, but a great dog. But I'm at the kennel, the dog's at the kennel. He's not being actively campaigned. Shows every weekend, and somebody that worked a guy that worked at the kennel during the season in college was getting ready to go. He could take a dog with him, and it was the perfect thing. So photo went to go live with him for the rest of his life. It was just pretty much Solivia. As far as the start of Solivia has always been just what
Yeah,
Susan started.
I sent him a couple of dogs when he was still in Texas to have and
Show there, yeah.
but we didn't actually end up it just didn't work. He had already placed his dog before we really got together.
And then as you started doing your first breedings together, was your mother still involved at that point?
Always, always.
At that point, were you just taking her family of dogs and line breeding to maintain and improve?
We line bred heavily. Mom and one of my sisters, Haley, the youngest, they really admired the Italian type of the Italian lines. And somebody in Mexico had wanted a dog from mom, and I ended up getting several, and sent mom back stuff out of those that were half Italian breeding via Argentina. So Italian dogs had been sent to Argentina, and these people in Mexico had bred our dog, sent to them, to these Argentinians, and sent us back stuff. And so it was definitively not line breeding at that point, and so we could actually breed in and in and in and in for many generations and still not really be line breeding.
What was it with those international dogs that was appealing to you? Was it a specific breed type?
It was specific breed type. It was pretty heads. It was little ears, little tails, and bringing that in, that fancied it up. And it was working lines. They were not show lines. They were working lines. But America is the only place where a field line couldn't be shown. Every other country, their working dogs look just like our show dogs.
When you brought those type of dogs in, obviously you're hopefully, improving your breed type or moving more towards, what your ideal is. Did you notice a difference in the temperaments or the working capability of those dogs?
It is very different. They're more active than the pointers we were used to. It is a completely different mentality. So more active, more drive. They're unique. They're cool, and now it's what we have. So we actually have a 1 week old litter sired by one of those specific dogs that was sent to us from Mexico. So yeah, it's going back to the future.
How many generations since are you now down from those original breedings?
Those were about 6 generations back. We're on 12 generations now.
And then since that, how many different lines would you say you brought in internationally? Was it
Many, 7 or 8, definitely.
We brought in like different Italian lines from different parts from actual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and New Zealand and
Yeah.
Australia and Ireland and England, and I mean, so very, very many.
Yeah,
We
we brought- there's
probably
a bunch
have
of 'em.
the most diverse line of anybody.
and with having such a I want to call it an outcross or just a lower coefficient of breeding. How is it that you've been able to achieve and maintain such a high level of breed type and soundness?
So we have our bitch line is she goes right back to that foundation bitch, every bitch. And
All of our best in show
all of our butts and show winners go right back to this. And
and national specialty winners.
yeah, as if you can, pointers is such a bitch breed. It is such a bitch breed, and the dam the dam matters so much. And the males are very, very important, and they can make or break a bitch as far as the caliber. But the consistency comes from the bitches, and every single one of ours can be traced back to that foundation bitch.
As you're doing these different breedings, are there certain breedings where you're looking to select a bitch from or select a male, or are you simply looking for the best puppy in every litter?
We look for the best puppy, but we have a 6-week-old litter where we specifically wanted to keep a nice male, and fate would have it. We love this particular puppy. So in general, we want to keep the best puppy. But the last few times, definitely wanted to keep a specific gender, and we've been fortunate.
Do you find your selection process is any different when you're evaluating an outcross litter versus a more line bred litter?
No, we just still try to, pick the best one.
Yeah.
All right, this is the one we like the best. But
This
we're
is the
pretty
one.
hard on them.
Yeah, we're very, very, very critical of our dogs. Very.
That seems to be a common theme among gray breeders.
You have to be. You have to be.
So, for those in our audience that don't know what a Solivia Pointer looks like, how would you describe one to them?
Perfect.
It's going
A
to
perfect pointer, of course. No,
it's going to move well.
Yeah.
It's going to have
pretty head.
a pretty head. It's going to have little ears. It's going to have a short beasting tail that it lashes.
What a great descriptive term.
Yes, it's going to have curves. It's not going to be generic. If you want something that stacks up and looks like an Irish setter without hair, that's not ours.
And is that a look you see kind of in the generic breed type in the ring today?
You see people rubbing the backs and making them drop 3 inches to get this real fancy generic look, and that's not a pointer. That's not a pointer at all.
The Better Breeder Institute serves the purebred conservation dog breeding community. Purposeful dog breeders dedicated to the preservation and advancement of their breed. Our mission is to empower breeders through education, enabling them to transform their breeding programs and achieve their highest goals. As breeders ourselves, we honor your dedication, we celebrate your vision, and we provide you with the tools to overcome any challenge in your program. Our resources, digital courses, and services will set you apart, helping you achieve excellence in your breeding and business practices. At the Better Breeder Institute, we're committed to preserving the legacy and protecting the future of purebred dogs. We're shaping a future where conservation breeders are recognized as the best source for healthy, beautiful, and predictable puppies. Learn how to strengthen your breeding program at betterbreeder.org. So, I'd love to learn a little bit more about your most notable dogs. What made them special and how you created them. Who are the dogs that have made Solivia what it has become today?
I'll start with the male. A male that's really turned mom's breeding program around as far as fancying it up, shortening the tails, because what the Shandown line had and what the deputy or national acclaim, Margetta national acclaim had were they were very pretty movers, but they tended to have longer tails, and mom was able to acquire a dog named Champion Orion of Crookrise, and she was at a national, and he just kind of fell into her lap, and he he shortened the backs, he gave it soundness, he fixed bites because pointers can have an even or scissors bite. They do not have it's not required that they have all their teeth, but a lot of bites would be even to under. That was typical back in the day. And Orion of Crookrise, he fixed that. And Orion was one of the breedings that the famous Crookrise kennels did to improve health themselves. So he was a little more than a quarter also field breeding too.
Was he an American dog or an import?
He was from the thing Crookrise kennels in England.
And your mom was able to acquire him, own him, and then use him prominently in your breeding program.
Yes, he's behind everything we have. And Ryan O'Ryan truly changed mom's dogs, fancied up the heads, shortened the back, shortened the tails. He was a beautiful mover. He air scented, so his head was held high anytime he moved. Great bomb-proof temperament. Really, really, and pointers used to be so shy, very, very shy. They're in a great place these days. They're generally happy and outgoing, and that is a credit to all the breeders today because they were not like that. But Ryan changed that for us. And the bitches, one of the most notable, really amazing bitch was a bitch named Champion Solivia's A Walk in the Clouds. She was handled by Jane and Greg Myers when they were handling, and she was the number one pointer. She's a multi best in show winner. She was our first best in show winner. We imported a dog from Australia that was sired by a dog we had exported to Australia. And we imported him to breed specifically to her. And that breeding produced our first national specialty winner and produced our first best in show winning male at that point, at that time. And the sire, he went on to become the top APC sire for the year. And so that was very fortunate. He was a good dog. He was a liver and white dog with a very beautiful head, a very short tail. He was very curvy, and but he had a great temperament and produced it. Wonderful temperaments on those puppies.
So it's interesting. The first dogs you're mentioning truly were your acquisitions, and then what they were able to do.
They shaped what we were able to do.
If I could, I want to just take a quick side road there, because you touched on something that I find interesting in a lot of breeds. Many breeders are very hesitant to export good quality bloodstock. In many breeds, my own, often it's kind of that second and third class of dog you might see exported. But something I've often felt very firmly about is that need to invest in other people's breeding programs, and in particularly internationally, where you might need those dogs someday if the American breed gets in trouble with whether it be health problems or just lack of breed type. Sometimes when you go and just breed to something from another country, it's like breeding to a different breed. Whereas if you have exported quality bloodstock, and there are the genetics are there to kind of tie up your chances of success, not only in turning your own program around, but really being able to kind of pull your breed type back in theory should go up. And it sounds like that's kind of what you've seen that happen. Any thoughts on that?
No, that makes total sense. I actually hadn't thought of it like that before, but anytime we send something out of the country, we try to send the very best possible because that's your reputation. That is, these people are trusting you to send them something good, and it's your reputation. And you're sending these dogs into places where it's not easy to win. So why would you send anything but the best? So, but your hypothesis on that is really great. I hadn't even thought of it that way, but it actually happens each time that way. So
What are the Solivia dogs that you're most proud?
I think one of our most noted producers and noted for our kennel was our first national specialty winner, which was Champion Solivia's Desiderata. And she won the largest pointer national in history, still to date, the 75th anniversary. And she, in turn, produced a national specialty winner and is the only mother and daughter duo to ever do that. She also produced two different Westminster Best of Breed winners, two different AKC National Championship Best of Breed winners, two different number one pointers for the APC, and three different all breed best in show and reserve best in show winners. And that is the only pointer bitch to do that from one litter in history.
Outstanding.
So it starts there. I mean,
She's
yeah, so that's where it starts.
She's
for us,
the
yeah.
real deal.
Yeah.
And one of her daughters champions Solivia's decisions, which is Frisia. Frisia, she won the national specialty. She won the breed of Westminster, made the cut in the group. She won the breed at the AKC National Championship and best bred by exhibitor twice. And
She was winner's bitch.
she was winner's bitch and best of winners at the national to finish her championship undefeated at 10 months of age.
Her sister was reserve winner's bitch at the national.
Her sister was reserve and
best puppy. We entered maybe in puppy and Frisia in the bred by.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to compete in the best bred by or best puppy, just in the regular winners. So so that's how we got away with that.
Great strategy.
Just, at the national, what we do is we literally throw everything you have.
Yeah.
You might have Johnny showing Callie, whoever. You just, whatever you have, I think should be shown at the largest, at shows like that. I think the national is one of the most important for your breed. It should be.
You need to showcase what you have.
Yeah.
And so Frisia decisions in turn produced national specialty, best of winners, best in futurity, and best in sweepstakes, which is the only pointer in history to do that.
And multiple best in show.
Her daughter went winner's bitch and best bred by, just like she did. And she is also a multiple best in show winner. And she has produced from 2 litters, multiple group winners, best in show winners, top 10 pointers. And so she and her mother are definitively our most notable, I would say. And her mother, Desiderata, is also the granddam of another national specialty of ours.
Elin.
Champion Avalon's Regera of Solivia. And she won the 2019 national, where Frisia went winner's bitch and best of winners. So Desiderata Arissa is truly worth her weight in gold, and she will be 14 in a month.
Have you been just primarily line breeding more recently, or have you been outcrossing through this line of incredible success?
Decisions. Frisia her first litter was an outcross. Not a huge outcross because there were similarities because of a kennel in New Zealand, but it was an outcross, and more so, I guess, not heavily line bred. I should rephrase that. She was definitely not heavily line bred, that breed.
So when you're doing these outcrosses, are you trying to go type to type, or is it more of a physical compensation between dogs?
It's exactly that. When we go to breed a litter, we want to, I would make decisions. I would have made her shorter backed. And so we chose a dog that was very short backed and compact. And Frisia, decisions was very curvy. And pointers should be curvy, but she definitely took it to the extreme. And so we wanted to moderate that. And we did. We were successful in doing that. And every time we do that, we also have in the back of our heads, okay, this is my bitch. These are her pluses, and not only just in physical attributes, but temperament and health. And do we believe that she can handle what we do know about another line or what we don't know about another line? And that is that every time we do a breeding, that is what we think of first. Can my bitch handle this? Even when people breed to our stud dogs, can my stud dog handle this, not only in looks, but temperament and health? Because it's, some people aren't honest even with themselves.
With outside bitches, when they're coming to breed to your stud dogs, how much do you get involved kind of on the consulting side and the advising? Or is it more, that breeder obviously sees something in my stud dog that they're looking to achieve and leave that to them?
No, we're very, very involved. We will help them place puppies, even if they're not related, because people need help. But, pointer puppies are not easy for a lot of people to place if you're not established, because they're not a lab, they're not a golden. And
They're better.
they're
Yeah.
not biased at all. But and some people can get stuck with, 7 or 8 pointer puppies, and they see what looks great, and they're like, "Oh, I want a pointer, I wanna breed pointers," but then reality hits, and if you're not established, it can be hard to place them. So, we will always help do that, and guide them, and suggest certain stud dogs that we have for their bitch. What do we think can help the most? And what can their bitch help the most with the stud dog?
So at this point in the Solivia story, there's obviously been so many chapters of both and so many generations of both dogs and humans. Looking back over the whole story, what do you think was the biggest challenge or setback that you've had to face in the management and maintenance of that bloodline? And how did you overcome that?
Well, health-wise, anytime you breed out, you're gonna come up on stuff's gonna happen. A lot of very bizarre hips you will have in a litter of for example, when we bred to the Italian dog, there were both the excellent hips and there were severely dysplastic hips, and it was so all over the board that you have to be prepared for that. And it doesn't matter how many generations of good and excellent and fair hips you may have. This is completely different, and you don't know. You don't know what's behind these dogs. You're looking at a piece of paper with some names written down, and you can see photos, but that doesn't mean much. So, yeah, I've dealt with that. We dealt with OCD of the shoulder, which is genetic if it's in the shoulder, and it comes up. They come up about lame when they're about 6 months old, and you take them in, and you can then you at first you think pano, and pano is common in pointers. It's common in bigger breeds. They grow too fast, and so initially, the first time we had seen OCD, we thought it was pano, and was not improving, even with normal pano steps. And took him to the vet, and it was OCD of the shoulder, and we'd never seen it before. And come to find out, it has happened in plenty of pointer lines. We just hadn't seen it.
What is the most notable accomplishment of Solivia?
We've been very, very fortunate. We've had many top producers. That's a big deal. We've been the AKC Top Sporting Breeder of the Year. Dennis was nominated as one of 3 for Breeder Owner Handler of the Year. It's there's so many things that made it up. I don't think I could name one thing. We're just fortunate. It was hard work. It was hard work, and there were breedings we did that didn't work. And if you get a litter and only a couple finish, and they're just average, that's not a huge success. As far as we're breeding this, we want them to match the breed standard, and by doing that, you win if they match the breed standard. And so sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes they're just very average.
That's what we do. When we breed, we're just breeding for ourselves.
Yeah, we want to. Every litter we do is for us.
Us. And then we have great people that's had our pointers in the past, thanks to Susan,
Yeah.
that are excellent pet homes that keep,
They always
they
wanted to come back.
and great and good retirement homes when we're done showing them. But yeah, we've been very lucky on that part of it.
Elevate your breeding program with Easy Whelp Solutions. Easy Whelp's innovative modular whelping boxes set a new standard for premium design and performance. Their washable, eco-friendly pads are more absorbent than the competition, keeping your whelping area clean and hygienic. And Easy Whelp Heat Combo ensures your puppies stay warm and healthy. Easy Whelp also carries a full line of whelping products, including box liners, feeding stations, whelping bundles, and video monitoring systems. Raise the bar in your breeding program. Visit easywhelp.com today. We're always looking to help breeders learn how they can operate better, more efficient breeding programs. What insights would you have to share with other breeders on that topic?
One of the most important things that we cannot stress enough is conditioning. You you can make or break a dog just by conditioning alone. We have a paddock and they have hours of paddock time a day. They Our puppies, when we raise them, they free feed until they're about 4.5 months old. And
Indoor, outdoor run.
yeah, we have indoor, outdoor, and it's not just we have a kennel with concrete indoor, outdoor runs, but we also have a separate building with indoor, outdoor paddocks. So the puppies grow up running in little mini paddocks. They always have exercise, they always have food, and if a pointer doesn't get enough food, if they don't get enough exercise, their chest will never develop. They will be spindly, and it's you could literally we've had so many that we've bought back that people ruins because of that. That's they don't understand how important it is. These are working dogs. They need exercise. They need to be able they can't just sit in a run. They cannot sit in a crate. And they're very sensitive. If you don't socialize them, and it is work, it is a lot of work. Anything that stops and stares at a smell is definitely
To point at.
to
Yeah.
point
Yeah.
at.
It's
That
wired to do that.
that is a whole separate type of animal. And so not socializing it properly can do a lot of damage. So conditioning is at the top of our list. Most important when having litters, when raising dogs, when getting show dogs in condition.
One of the major tenets here at the Better Breeder Institute is the belief that we must begin to view our fellow breeders as partners and collaborators rather than competitors and rivals. Can you speak to the importance of that mindset in the preservation of purebred dogs?
I'm not sure how the collie community is, but the pointer community, the contingency is very small still. So it is still a mindset of competition because so many can have success with their first litter. And so that does make them instant experts. And that's great. I can't think of somebody I'm not genuinely happy for when they win. That's amazing. I can look at your dog and I can tell you what 6 generations back looked like, acted like, how it carried its tail, what eyes color it had, because that's my passion. But it's not I think we're at a time where we're not jealous at all. It's fascination and seeing how the breed, how the lines click, even when other people have them and they breed certain lines together and you see what didn't work or what came through, and it's very interesting. But I think if people were more honest about the health, and pointers are in a pretty decent, epilepsy used to be a huge deal. It was a problem 25, 30 years ago, and it's much better now. Pointers are in pretty decent shape.
Overall, absolutely.
Prettier than
Yeah.
they used to
They're
be.
prettier, they act better, people are doing great.
That's great to hear, and it's a credit to the breeders.
It truly is. When people are, have been in the breed 5 minutes and they start having 4, 5, 6 litters, that's a little concerning because they're trying to get a winner rather than a long-term foundation, a line. And, one puppy at a 6 will turn out. That's not good enough for us. You should have an entire litter of specials quality dogs. That's the goal.
That's the goal anyway. Yeah.
And so, but overall, pointers are in decent shape, very much so.
On the flip side, what has you optimistic about the future of the pointer breed?
There's just a lot of different breeders that are doing a good job
Yeah.
and trying hard. And
And stewards of the breed, not necessarily just the breeders, but people that have had the breed before and for a long time, and those people they're amazing, and they keep nationals going, and they keep specialties going, and they should get their due respect too, because just because they're not breeding doesn't mean they are not just so important to the breed, and I hope they know that.
What do you believe your fellow breeders should be most focused on right now?
I think front assemblies, and the thing about pointers is they can defy logic. They can be straight in the front and move beautifully, and so it's hard to say, "Oh, well, it's straight in the front." Well, it moves well. It moves well, so it's kind of a
The front assembly. Front assembly,
yeah.
definitely. For that.
The fronts, yeah.
I wish my breed had that problem.
No, it's crazy. It literally, you can see a dog and it sticks straight in the front standing there, and it it defies logic, truly. But, I mean,
Interesting.
pointers should have little ears. They should have oval bone. They shouldn't be cloddy or houndy. They should have short tails, not carried high. That is a problem in the pointer breed right now, tails carried very high. So that's a houndy trait and definitely needs addressing. But overall, pointers are in good shape. People are doing a good job.
Make yourself your own rival, though. I think
Yeah.
if you just try to, not worry, at least with us, I mean, we just try to, we're our own
Competition.
competition. We look at what we have and we maybe win in something with it, but we know already what the faults are with that.
Is there a breeder you'd like to see featured on the Better Breeder Chronicles? Then go to betterbreeder.org/nominate to let us know. We are looking for master breeders, whether they are highly acclaimed or they work quietly in anonymity to move their breed forward. Better Breeder Chronicles puts those individuals on their rightful pedestal and shares their story with the purebred dog world. Nominate your most respected breeder today. Go to betterbreeder.org/nominate. If there was one master breeder that you'd like to see featured on this show, who would that be and why?
Have you done Anne Ramsbottom? White?
Have not.
Well, she was also in pointers.
She was in pointers.
She was
but
also in pointers, but I think her dog is still the top producing.
I think champion Cambria's Cactus Cash. I think he is still the top producing dog of all breeds in history. And you should
The Dobermans.
yeah, the Doberman world, yeah. I would definitely amazing.
Well, she is on our list. She was scheduled. We've had to reschedule, hoping to do it very soon. But
Well, she would be great.
She'd be good. She'd be good.
And she did have pointers, and our pointers actually go back.
that I did not know. Terrific.
Our pointers that we had now today, every single Best in Show winner and national winner and top 10 goes back to her bitch, one of hers. 4 of her pointers, this is interesting. There's a creek that runs
Just south.
just south of town called Rose Creek. And just on the other side of it is an old cattle and sale barn that is still in operation. Anne's dad and she used to come here to the sale barn every weekend and sell cattle and stuff, and they would cross Rose Creek. So Anne's pointer kennel is named Rose Creek, and the Doberman is Cambria.
Yeah.
So how interesting that he grew up here.
Yeah.
And we ended up having all of our winners today goes back to that bitch that someone actually had purchased from her and bred to one of our dogs. And we bred, it was an accidental breeding to one of those resulting puppies. Every single winner we have today is from an accidental breeding.
Dennis and Katey, to that aspiring breeder that is listening to the Solivia story today, if there was one thing you'd hope they'd take away from your story that would help them in their own journey, what would it be?
Don't give up.
Yeah, don't give
Starters.
up.
Don't give up. Don't listen to the first person that tells you.
Don't listen to the haters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you have a lot of haters, you're doing something right. I mean, you always, it is, you will always have that. The more you win, the worse it gets. Don't worry about it. I mean, this is every day, like when you show, it's a dog show. You go best in show one day, you're fancy that day. The next day, it's a different day.
You can
You
lose
lose
the
the breed.
Condition your dog
Condition.
mentally, physically. That is so important. That is the most important thing I can tell someone. The condition of your dog, the condition of its mind is the most important thing you can do.
And yourself.
Yeah.
Like watch other people show dogs. There's a big thing they talk, oh, I'm an owner handler. We all started at that.
We're all owner
Okay, so
handlers.
that's not an excuse anymore.
Yeah.
It's we're the breeder owner handlers. I can't officially do it because we do get paid by showing our own dog and other breeds, but just do what you love, watch other people, make yourself better too. You can't just blame blah blah because blah blah only puts up puppies. Well, maybe you did something wrong. Maybe your dog doesn't look so this and that. So fix yourself, fix what you can fix. And look at the standard, understand it. You might look at it a little different. We all look at everything different in life. Everything you look at. You, me, Katey, and try to take that and make it the prettiest. And I always say that, like, you always want to take something and make it as pretty as you can.
If it's white, make it
Make
white.
it white. If it's red, make sure it's red.
Yeah.
A liver, solid, whatever it may be.
Presentation is important. Presentation of your dog, presentation of yourself. Look at what people are wearing, the successful people. Look at what they're wearing, how they're acting, how they carry themselves. It matters. It all matters in the end.
Those are wise, wise words. Thank you. Dennis and Katey, after your breeding days are done, how do you want breed history to remember Solivia Pointers?
I want us to be remembered as helpful. I want our dogs to remember as pretty and sound, good movers, healthy. And definitely, I want to be remembered as we would do all we could to help someone succeed, because that's a reflection on us.
If breeders want to learn more about your dogs and your breeding program, do you have a website or where can they go?
We have Facebook and
Instagram.
Instagram.
And I think it's Dennis and Katey at Solivia, correct? That's
our personal page. We have Solivia Kennels and Solivia Pointers on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah. So both of
Yeah.
them. Yep.
Dennis and Katey, thank you for sharing the Solivia story with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thank you for having us. Appreciate
It
it.
was great.
That's it for this chapter of the Better Breeder Chronicles. We hope you found the Solivia story with Dennis and Katey Brown captivating, and that it will inspire you to pursue your highest goals in your breeding program. Make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. At the Better Breeder Institute, we encourage all conservation dog breeders to embrace your fellow breeders as partners and collaborators rather than competitors and rivals. With the unprecedented challenges we all face today, successful breeding programs can no longer operate on an island. Our purebred dog breeder community must come together with everyone pulling in the same direction. This is crucial if we're going to successfully preserve and advance our beloved breeds. I'm Matt Stelter, closing the book for today. Best wishes to you and your breeding program from all of us at the Better Breeder Institute. We'll see you in the next chapter. Take care.